Welcome to Smash Metafiction, the side project of Smash Fiction where we put aside our differences and work not to pit characters against one another, but to unite them together in search of a common goal. And you know, while we're putting aside our differences, why don't we also put aside our shitty human protagonists and talk about the real heroes, aminals. This week is an extra zoological episode of Surprise Party. The jungles of India are a wondrous place, full of natural beauty, great and small, but also teeming with danger, and is no place for a small human child. So when one of the jungle's animals discovered an abandoned baby man cub, so pathetic and small, the animal took pity on the young shitty human and brought it to a pack of sympathetic wolves who decided to raise the man cub alongside their own offspring. But not every jungle inhabitant is as welcoming to the two-legged visitor as the wolves are. Years after the man cub joined the wolf pack, the terrifying tiger known as Shere Khan returned to the jungle and issued a decree. He gonna kill that little ass human at the end of the dry season. So the wolves, terrified for the man cub's safety, put out the call to some of the jungle's most sympathetic animals and put them to a perilous task. Guide the man cub through the jungle and its dangers to the human village on the other side, where the man cub can join with its own people and be safe from Shere Khan's claws. This is no small task, and completing it will require an exceptional party of animals. Let's hope today's contestants have what it takes. I'm Kit Mulcairn, and I'll be judging everyone's taxonomical errors today. Just kidding. Kinda. Joining me
you're
as
not
contestants.
joking at all. What are you talking about?
Joining me as contestants are Liz Logan.
Kit, don't hate me, but I guess I don't pay attention to the animals much.
Well, that's not going to do you very good in this match, huh? Miles Schneiderman.
Jungle Bookie, na na na, Jungle Bookie, get it on.
Very nice. And Claire Mulcairn.
If you think about it, the most dangerous animal is man. Did I just blow your mind?
Isn't that also the most dangerous game?
It's both. Which is why I brought all humans for my match, because they're technically animals, if you think about it.
And Claire is disqualified. As with every episode of Surprise Party, we'll be taking a classic team-centric story, in this case The Jungle Book, and replacing the central characters with characters from other fictional properties. Each of the SmashFic hosts here with me will create their own group of characters taken from other works of fiction. The only catch is, they all have to be either animals or some sort of anthropomorphized version of an animal. Once each of the advocates have their teams created, I'll present them with the challenges that they encounter along the plot. The advocates will take turns choosing a character from their team and explain how that character deals with the challenge. After that point, the character is unusable for the remainder of the game. At the end of each challenge, I'll decide privately which character met the challenge the best and award points to the advocates accordingly. Then we'll move on. At the end of the episode, I'll see which advocate had the most points, and they, and their party, will be declared the winner. So, first off, let's choose your characters, and in order to do that, we're gonna be rolling some dice. Let's get some initiative going.
I got a 17.
Got an 8.
Well, I got a 4.
All right. The order will be Liz, Claire, then Miles, but this order will be rotating every round. The first character slot each of you will be filling is the mammal. These characters are best known for being covered in fur or hair, producing milk to feed their young, and having 3 middle ear bones. From lions and tigers and whales? Oh my. It's mammals. Liz, who is your mammal?
It's funny you mentioned that first animal because I picked Scar from The Lion King.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Rawr.
Tell us a little bit about who Scar is, for
Scar,
those who don't and never seen The Lion King.
Yeah, seriously.
Scar is the primary villain of The Lion King. He is Simba's uncle, Mufasa's brother. He basically murders Mufasa and tries to take over Pride Rock when, Simba was promised it by his dad, and he's mean, and he has a scar. Hence why he's named Scar.
Oh, I never got that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know. I know. I'm just the best at giving these descriptions,
Claire, who is your mammal?
My mammal is Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Ooh, tell me about that mammal.
So Blinks is an anthropomorphic orange cat from Blinks the Time Sweeper, which is a video game on the original Xbox. The ads for it said it was the world's first 4D action game. The basic idea is that it's a world where when a time period becomes unstable, there are time monsters that appear as like manifestations of the broken timeline. And there's a group called the Time Sweepers that show up, that travel through time and kill time monsters with their magic vacuum cleaners, which apparently also fixes the time stream.
I just looked up a picture of this cat. I remember it now.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
My childhood.
They tried to make him the Xbox like mascot for like a month, and then they're like, nah, this isn't gonna work. Like, nobody played this game. So he has a magic vacuum cleaner that can absorb and shoot out different objects, and it also has little buttons on it that he can use to get limited control over the flow of time, like pausing or rewinding or something like that with limited uses.
Fun. Put that cat in collaboratory, man. Miles, who is your mammal?
Well, guys, you know how much I like to keep things honest here on this show. Make sure nobody's, cheating or breaking any rules or, lying. Which is why I brought Lion Cat from Saga.
Oh, nice.
Yes!
And
3 kitties.
I was going to say,
I know,
and for some
seriously.
reason, despite all the different options available for mammals, we all chose cats.
Oh, because cats are so good.
I almost picked a different cat, actually. That was my other option.
Miles, tell us a bit about Lion Cat.
Lion Cat is from a comic book called Saga, and she is the sidekick of a bounty hunter named the Will. She is extremely good in combat, as she is frequently seen just like taking down armed dudes like they're nothing. But the greatest thing about her is that whenever anybody says something that they know is a lie in her presence, she knows and says lying to call them out on it. This usually doesn't include things that people believe are true, but like it can often apply to things, they know deep down isn't true, but they're trying to make them believe it's true. Lion Cat can call them out on that kind of shit. I believe it's a form of limited telepathy.
And I believe Lion Cat looks like a hairless cat, right? Like a large
She
hairless
does, yeah.
cat?
In like weird Egyptianish garb, like a big collar with like a sun on it.
All right. Did you know?
Oh, man.
The word mammal comes from the Latin word mamma, which means breast. Nice. The next character slot is the bird. Birds are best known for having feathers, laying hard-shelled eggs, and having toothless, beaked jaws. Though geese are really fucking pushing it with their creepy serrated beak protrusions that look like teeth. Google it. Google it, coward. But first, Claire, who is your bird?
My bird is Scrooge McDuck.
Nice.
Okay.
Tell us a bit about this very rich duck.
Yeah, he is the richest duck in the world, in fact. He is a multi-plugillionaire. He's a very interesting, weird character. If you dig into his backstory, he actually grew up poor, and he got kind of cheated out of money a lot when he was younger, and decided in order to prove everybody wrong, he was going to work really hard and grow up to be the richest duck there is. And he did. And in his words, he did it by being smarter than the smarties, tougher than the toughies, and making it square.
The American dream duck.
Indeed. He also has that kind of Depression era psychology where he's very loss averse and risk averse and is afraid of spending anything because of trauma in his past, basically, and just hoards money like crazy. Also, when his money is threatened or his family is threatened, either of the two things that he loves, he can go into an uncontrollable rage, and he gets weird superhuman strength and speed. I've seen videos that break down just how fast he is and just how strong he is. He rips a steamboat in half with his bare hands. It makes no sense.
So he's if the Hulk could only specifically become angry over the threat of his money being gone.
Or his family. He loves two things. He loves two things equally. His money and his family.
Have those things ever been pit against each other?
Oh, I don't know.
Has he ever had to pick one?
I think Huey, Dewey, and Louie might die if that ever happened.
On that note, Miles, who is your bird?
Well, there's nothing in the rules that says a dog can't play basketball. And there's also nothing in the rules that says that a velociraptor can't put on boxing gloves and beat the shit out of you.
Oh, fuck yes. Is this Tekken?
Yeah, my bird is Alex from the Tekken franchise.
Oh, hell yes. I forgot. Wait, his name was Alex?
His name is Alex, yes.
Oh! Okay, what would you like to tell the people about Alex that they don't already know from that?
Basically, they did Jurassic Park with the getting dinosaur DNA from insects, but instead of replacing the missing DNA strands with frogs, they replaced it with kangaroo DNA for some reason. Presumably because the character originally was envisioned as a clone of Roger, who's the Tekken character who's a kangaroo with boxing gloves that beats the shit out of you. There's speculation that he's not fully developed yet, and when he is fully developed, he'll be the strongest creature in the world or some shit, but, you know, who knows? It's not like he's a big focus of the story, so we'll never get the answer to that one.
Wow.
But one of the main reasons I wanted to bring him into this battle was because I originally had the idea of bringing in King, or Armor King, from the Tekken series, but then I realized, oh yeah, those lion heads, those cat heads they wear are actually masks, and and they're actually regular shitty humans underneath. However, Alex, in addition to actually being a velociraptor with boxing gloves who beats the crap out of you, has a pretty much identical moveset to Armor King's, which means in addition to being a dinosaur with boxing gloves, he's also a pro wrestler, I guess, because that's what most of Armor King's moves are. So, you know, lots of big slams, throws, grapples, one of the best unblockable attacks in the game. Alex will end you, man. He's a dinosaur, and I hasten to emphasize this, with boxing gloves.
Yeah, I guess raptors and kangaroos are together greater than the sum of their parts. Right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I received assurances this counted as a bird, so...
I this is a bird. Don't make me get into it. Liz, who is your bird?
Oh my god. Most of my animals are dumpuses. I just...
Well, as long as they're not humans, it's fine.
My bird is... Let me get into character. Boris from Balto.
Oh shit! What was that bird?
He's a goose!
Oh, that's right. Boris the goose.
Boris Gusanov. Oh my god. He's like one of my favorite bird characters. The first bird I thought of, and he literally has no powers. He serves as comic relief. He falls off everything, and he helps out Balto, and he always gives like really enlightening Russian sermons to him to inspire him. So he's inspirational, and that's it.
Good.
Boris. Uncle Boris.
You really just picked him because he had a Russian accent.
Well, yeah.
That makes sense, honestly. That's on brand.
Did you know? In the scientific community, birds are frequently referred to as avian dinosaurs because they are legitimately, through the fossil record, classified as modern feathered dinosaurs.
Goddamn right.
Which means dinosaurs haven't actually gone extinct. You can stop making Jurassic World movies now. The first Jurassic Park was the only good one anyway.
For fucking real. Preach, kid. Fuck those new movies.
I like The Lost World.
I mean, Lost World is a fun trash fire.
Yeah.
It's fun, but like the
Miles,
good one.
We should at some point do some bonus content where we talk about Jurassic World, because I actually kind of like the first one on a thematic level because it's very like
fucking okay. Yeah, we'll do it sometime.
It's profoundly and intelligently anti-capitalist in a really interesting way.
We should definitely do that because I hate that movie with every bone in my
I'll do that
body.
with you. I'll come at it from the animal perspective.
That sounds good.
The third character slot is the reptile. These dudes are best known for having dry, scaly skin, being cold-blooded, and selling you car insurance. When your party needs something smelled with a tongue, that's your reptile's time to shine. Miles, who is your reptile?
My reptile, and tell me if anyone remembers this character, is Granomir from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the 80s cartoon. So Granomir is a dragon. He's a big red dragon, but for some reason he has like this horned Viking helmet on. It's never explained. So in the He-Man universe, in the 80s cartoon, there's a place called Dark Smoke, which is where all the dragons live. And Granomir is like the king of the dragons. He's like thousands of years old. He was written into the show specifically because they wanted an opponent for He-Man that He-Man couldn't defeat physically. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's that. Also, he has like magic powers, and he's fucking flies around and breathes fire, and he's a badass dragon. That was not included in the dragon match because I wasn't in it. But I like him a great deal.
Liz, who's your reptile?
Granomir's like huge, right?
Yeah, he's real big.
Well, my reptile is Mushu the very small dragon.
Oh, fantastic. Tell us about this other Disney character.
He is a bombastic little guy. He looks more like a snake than a dragon, but he does his darndest to help old Mulan out in her goals to fit in as an army dude and bring her family honor and make her dad proud, and somehow is able to help her survive certain death. So he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. He's another sort of inspirational character that you've got.
Yeah.
Claire, who is your reptile?
Wow, we're having a lot of Disney characters this time, because my reptile is another Disney character who is extremely different in every conceivable way from any character in the Jungle Book. My reptile is Sir Hiss from Robin Hood.
Wow, guys. I considered both of those as options that you guys
did
just
you?
picked.
That's
Yeah,
great.
totally.
Tell us about Sir Hiss.
So Sir Hiss is the third most important villain from the Disney animated Robin Hood.
Maybe fourth?
He's down there. He's the right-hand man of Prince John. He's pompous, cowardly, and not quite as dumb or irredeemably bad as the other villains, but just kind of nobody listens to him and he gets beat up a lot. But he does, however, have powers of hypnosis, which are completely unlike any characters in the Jungle Book. And of course, he looks nothing like any characters in the Jungle Book and is not just a recycled character model.
Did you know? Crocodilians are more closely related to birds than they are to lizards. This clade of animals is a hot mess, and Dan has informed me that I am not allowed to explain how it all works, because that would take up the entire rest of the hour that we've dedicated to Surprise Party. But it's really interesting. I promise.
Google it.
The fourth character slot is the aquatic. This is where we start to diverge from the taxonomic definitions and start getting into some gray areas for the sake of brevity. Your aquatic character could be an amphibian, like a frog or a salamander. It could be a fish, like a shark or a salmon. Or it could be any other type of animal that's associated with an aquatic environment, like shellfish or cephalopods. Even animals that technically fit into the previous categories, like whales, penguins, crocodiles, etc., could be an aquatic character. The only requirement is that they have to spend a significant part of their life cycle in the water. So Liz, who was your aquatic character?
Flipper.
All right!
Wow.
So, tell us about Flipper, kind of an old TV show.
Basically, Flipper is a friendly neighborhood dolphin that makes friends with some kid. They save it from some ecological poisoning issues, and then the dolphin, of course, saves the kid from a shark. That's like a dolphin stereotype. Oh, dolphins always save people from sharks, but that actually happened in this movie. So he's got some serious nose-butting skills.
Yeah. He stops a lot of water-adjacent crime, or some such, I assume. Claire, who is your aquatic?
My aquatic character is Ponyo.
Ponyo!
From
Ponyo!
I don't know what that is.
Tell us about this weird little fish girl.
Yeah, it's a Studio Ghibli movie. She is a magic goldfish who is the child of a former human, a phrase that is not ever fully explained, who married the goddess of the ocean, but she is a goldfish. And she swims away from home. She gets trapped in a jar, meets a human boy who frees her, but cuts his finger doing so, and then she uses her magic, spit to, lick his finger and heal it, but in doing so, she gets human blood in her, and then she can use the human blood to turn into a human. It's weird, dream logic stuff. She has the ability to turn into a human. She is a weird little kid. A lot of kids in, fiction are really smart or precocious, but a thing I like about Ponyo and a lot of, Studio Ghibli movies is that the kids are really realistic in that they're really emotional and kind of, dumb. But they have really big hearts and care about stuff a lot, and it's really inspiring and sweet. And yeah, she just kind of has weird open-ended whimsy magic.
Yeah, Ponyo's a kind of a trip. I recommend watching that movie. Hi, Miles, who is your aquatic?
Guys, I realize that I might not win this surprise party. statistically, I have a better chance of losing than I do of winning. But even if one of you takes this, I want you guys to know that I'm going down fighting, all right?
Have you met me, Miles?
To the last, I grapple with thee. From hell's heart, I stab at thee. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at thee. My aquatic character is Moby Dick.
Oh shit! Oh boy. Well,
all right.
Tell us about Flipper's competition in the cetacean department.
He's a gigantic fuck-off sperm whale. Moby Dick is the central antagonist of the book of the same name by Herman Melville. He's a giant whale who kills people and destroys ships. As we might say in a Smash Fiction match, we never see him lose a fight. There's the ships full of humans try and stick harpoons at him, and he kills them. That's Moby Dick.
As is his right.
That's right.
Oh boy, I am gonna have a blast imagining Moby Dick move through the jungle of India.
This is my second huge character.
Oh gosh,
So.
God damn it.
Yeah, the dragon made more sense. Did you know? Modern dolphins and whales evolved from a genus of animals called Indoheus, which looked like if you took a cat, gave it cute little deer legs, and then stuck a long raccoon-looking face on it. Over the course of tens of millions of years, Indoheus realized that land was kinda overrated. It never should have left its ancestral home to pursue some crazy dream about making it big, and went back to the water, returned to its fin-having roots, but also made sure not to forget the warm-blooded, air-breathing lessons it learned up on land. And you know what? That crazy little mammal became the largest animal to have ever existed on Earth. The blue whale. I don't have a joke, I just think that's a nice story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Inspiring.
The fifth character slot is the bug. Again, we shamefully stray from taxonomic definitions and enter the no man's land of colloquial understanding. Your bug character could be an insect, like a beetle or bees. It could be an arachnid, like a spider or scorpion. It could be any number of creepy crawlies that people think of as bugs, like earthworms or centipedes. But one thing's for certain, they don't have an endoskeleton. So, Claire, who is your bug?
My bug is Miss Spider from James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, I've not seen that in a minute. Remind me who Miss Spider is.
She's great. She is a French super femme goth spider who wears a beret. She's voiced by Susan Sarandon. She, at the beginning, seems kind of like the creepiest one of the group, who's a little bit aloof and a little bit distant or cold. But you quickly realize no, she's actually super sweet and really nice and also incredibly useful. It just has mad web spinning skills that she can bust out in action scenes to do crazy stuff. So yeah, she's just friggin' great.
Miles, who is your bug?
My bug is Shelob from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, of course, classic. Tell us about Shelob.
Shelob's a giant spider. Because all my characters have to be big, apparently.
Yes, Kit approves.
So yeah, Shelob's a giant spider, lives in a cave in Mordor and eats people, and is very, very poisonous.
Is she poisonous or venomous?
Okay, so she's venomous.
I mean, I wouldn't advise trying to eat her to find out, but she is venomous.
She's pretty badass. People try to hit her with swords, Frodo hits her with Sting in the book. It doesn't really do much, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's a lot of lore that I'm missing about her because I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, but fear not, I have her Wikipedia page front and center.
Liz, who is your bug?
My bug is Stun, the insect from Bloody Roar 2.
Fuck yeah, Bloody Roar. I know Stun. Tell us about
I know
Stun.
Bloody Roar.
Stun is a guy, I think he was a scientist and he did some wonky experiments and now he can transform into a bug, which looks like a grasshopper met a beetle, met a scorpion that has stingers for claws. I don't know, something like that. He's anthropomorphic, and I have no idea what he sounds like. I have no idea what his deal is, because I only was able to play the demo disc for the original PlayStation.
Oh, no!
But I had such great memories with that demo disc.
Oh, so if you only played him in one game, then you only sort of have one look of his in mind, because he looks pretty different in different games.
Sure.
But for the most part, he looks like a stag beetle. If y'all know what those are, the beetles with the big old horns. for those
Sure,
at home
yeah,
visualizing.
Yeah.
Did you know? Flowering plants evolved alongside pollinating insects. It's kind of like plants slowly realized that they could trick animals into helping them have sex. Save the bees from these nasty-ass sex criminals. Your sixth and final character slot is the man cub, better known to the surprise party audience at large as the dumpus, our favorite.
Dumpus.
Yes, it turns out that the character your party is escorting through the jungle really puts the shitty in shitty human. Let's hope that the animals you've picked for your other 5 slots are exceptionally competent, because the dumpus will almost certainly be doing everything in their power to get their dumbass killed. As always, the players will not be choosing their own dumpus, but will be assigning a dumpus to another player. So, Miles, who is Liz's dumpus?
Liz, your dumpus is Joffrey Baratheon.
Oh, no. That's a great dumpus. Oh, my God.
That's cold, Miles.
Okay, no.
Oh
It's
God.
okay. It's okay. I'm totally fine with this.
Tell us about this character who we should really be letting Shere Khan kill.
Yeah, he's really just a little shit. He's a spoiled rich kid who thinks he's better than everyone else, and every ounce of his power comes from his name and his family, which are a long way away. He can't fight. He can't negotiate. He literally can't do anything except give increasingly crazy and or stupid decrees that everyone for some reason listens to because he has a crown on his head. Joffrey sucks. He's the worst. Everybody hates him. I knew Liz hated him, so here you go, Liz.
No problem.
Well, Liz,
No problem.
it's your turn. Who is Claire's dumpus?
Joffrey fucking sucks. Okay, Claire, you have Cruella de Vil.
Oh, all right.
Interesting.
So much Disney, but interesting, yeah.
Yes. Tell us about Cruella de Vil.
Cruella de Vil is the total villain antagonist of 101 Dalmatians, which has been remade a billion times. It's going to be remade again. And essentially, she is a awful woman who literally skins puppies because their fur is softer than older dogs and sells them on the fur market. You can't get much worse than this.
Well, she certainly tried, but she has some very stupid goons.
Yeah, and she also doesn't really do anything herself. Like, she basically just orders them around.
Yes, it's a good dumpus. Claire, who is Miles's dumpus?
Miles, your dumpus is Elmer Fudd.
Okay.
All right, classic. Tell us about Elmer Fudd.
He is a recurring antagonist from the old Looney Tunes cartoons, often hunting Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck.
Wabbits.
Yes.
Wabbits.
He is profoundly incompetent in everything he does. You know, gets frustrated easily duped, just kind of bad at everything. The perfect straight man to all of Bugs Bunny's antics. So in addition to being generally incompetent, he also wants to hunt stuff to like prove himself as a hunter. So that will prove probably pretty detrimental.
I also can't blame Shere Khan for wanting to kill him.
Yeah,
he's
also
going
fair.
to be a hunter.
Yeah, you really can't blame Shere Khan for wanting to kill any of these people.
Yeah. How
Like,
did
even
we end up
Joffrey
with
is
this?
also like super into hunting.
Yeah.
So
Oh man,
yeah.
this is interesting. All right, everyone now is a party of 6 characters, but before we set off into the jungle, we're going to play a quick round of musical chairs. Each of you, please roll a d6.
Oh. 6.
Oh no.
Oh no, you know
Oh,
what that
no.
means? Liz will be giving her dumpus
No.
to Miles.
No!
God damn it.
I object.
That means Joffrey Baratheon goes back to Miles?
No,
Is that-
that's terrible. I
That's
demand
how
a
it works.
reroll.
I've never seen someone so upset to lose a dumpus before, but
Claire, what was your die result?
I got a 3.
Claire will be giving her reptile to Liz. Remind us, who is your reptile? Who's Liz?
Sir Hiss.
Miles, what is your die result?
4.
4. So,
I'm not happy.
Oh no! Oh, this one's breaking everyone's hearts.
Oh, damn, this sucks.
I also don't know anything about Moby Dick.
You don't need to know anything. It's a whale.
That's all I need to.
gosh.
All right, it's just a giant whale. That's fine.
It's a giant mean whale.
Heartbreakingly, Miles will be giving Moby Dick to Claire.
I hate all of
That
you.
was so sad. You're
So,
breaking
I do not
animal hearts.
consent to Miles giving me his dick.
I'll take it back if you want. You want Joffrey? I got an extra
God,
dumpus over
no,
here.
never
Rating
mind.
dumpuses.
Take Moby Dick.
Now we have a double dumpus on our hands. Miles has 2 dumpuses, meaning that Liz has none. But each player needs a man cub that the other characters are trying to get through the jungle. So, Miles, choose one of your 2 dumpuses as your designated man cub.
Well, I guess Elmer Fudd, since he's more pleasant, will be my man cub.
All right, so...
Joffrey can be a fucking...
Lion cub?
He probably would be a lion cub, huh? A little shitty-ass lion cub.
Little Lannister, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, now, Liz, choose one of your animal characters to undergo a radically and probably disturbing transformation into a man cub.
Fuck it, Scar, terrible human.
All right. Players, please introduce your fuzzy, feathery, scaly teams to the world.
All right, so my man cub is Cruella DeVille, and protecting her will be Blinks the Time Sweeper, the cat, Scrooge McDuck, the duck, Ponyo, the goldfish, Miss Spider, the spider, and Moby Dick, the whale.
Hate you. So my party consists of Lion Cat, the Lion Cat, Alex from Tekken, Granamir from He-Man, some shitty little lion cub that we found somewhere who won't stop making sounds even no matter how many times we smack him. Shelob from Lord of the Rings. She and Granamir are very upset to lose the 3rd member of their Ancient Giant Monster trio. And, Elmer Fudd is the person we're protecting for some reason.
You guys had a heart. Well, the wolves had a heart, I guess I should say.
My team is now protecting Scar as my man cub, who will be a terrible human. And the team is Boris, the bird, Mushu, the tiny dragon, Stun, the very strong insect, and Sir Hiss, presumably the snake.
Yes.
Oh, and Flipper. Flipper gets about Flipper.
And now, let's crack open this book, see what's in store. Chapter 1. The Insert a Species Here necessities. Even with a common goal and the best of intentions, there's bound to be some rough spots in this journey. After all, your group is made up of characters from different species. You've got predators hanging out with prey, solitary animals being forced to spend time with social animals, and probably some anthropomorphic shit that would make Charles Darwin sexually confused. Before things start getting really dangerous, it's probably a good idea to start getting to know each other. Contestants, choose 2 of your characters. The first character is going to take the second one under their wing, imparting life lessons and important skills onto their impressionable student. The second character will then attempt to put that advice into action. Liz, tell me which 2 characters you're choosing. Who is the teacher, and how does the student interpret and act on their advice?
I'm gonna do Mushu and Flipper. Mushu is the teacher, Flipper as the student. All right, let's do this. Who's my partner in crime? This is what I have to work with. Now where's that girl, Mulan? Mushu's gonna start teaching Flipper how to navigate the dangerous jungle waters of wherever the fuck we are.
India!
jungle USA. And so they're gonna go through this whole thing where it turns out Flipper's actually really good at navigating the rivers and Mushu's terrible at everything. So he's gonna get lost and try to give Flipper pointers, jumping over everything, and then all of a sudden Mushu falls into the water. And there's a shark in the river that goes after Mushu.
The dreaded Indian river shark.
And Flipper nose butts the shit out of this shark. I hate myself. And Mushu goes, "Thank you for saving me. I thought I was the teacher here, but it turns out I wasn't. I guess you're a lot smarter than you sound." And scene, I can't do this. I'm sorry, everyone.
Well,
starting off strong.
If it comforts you at all, Liz, there is a species of river shark in India. It's a type of bull shark because they're brackish water fish. Anyway, very good. Surprisingly very good.
Oh, God.
So, Claire, tell me about your teacher and student.
Yeah, follow that shit up.
I think that my teacher, weirdly enough, is going to be Ponyo, and my student is going to be Moby Dick.
Oh, okay. Makes sense, okay.
Basically, as the rest of the party is up on land, like walking alongside the river, Moby Dick is swimming through the giant river. He's basically just like rubbing both banks simultaneously because he's so big. And if the river gets any narrower, he won't be able to continue. But for now, he's fine. Coming along with him, keeping him company is Ponyo, even though she can like go back and forth between being a human and a goldfish. And he's asking her all sorts of questions because, you know, he's really confused by humans. They just like come at him and like throw weapons at him and try to kill him all the time. And he doesn't really get why. And he like fucks them up and kills them when it happens, but he doesn't really understand what their deal is. And so Ponyo's explaining, you know, oh, humans, they feel small and they want to feel like they're big and in charge. So they like to kill stuff to feel powerful, but they're really sweet. Most of them are nice. Some of the bad ones were hunting you, but they're not all bad, all that kind of stuff. And then Moby Dick's like, oh man, I really wish I could see the human world the way that you do. You know, the way you talk about it, it sounds pretty nice, but I don't know, everything I've seen from it has just been violence. And then she's like, you know what? Maybe there's a way. So she comes back up to land and she finds like a rock, like a sharp, pointy rock, and then walks up behind Cruella de Vil and like pokes her in the back of the leg. And she like freaks out and starts swatting at the little girl, who then runs away and dives into the water, now holding a stone that's covered in Cruella de Vil's blood. And then she feeds it to Moby Dick and then uses some of her like mysterious Studio Ghibli goldfish magic to transfer Moby Dick into a human. But because he's a giant whale, he turns into a proportionally sized, like a 12-foot tall, enormous human with pure white skin. And he's just like covered in scars all over his body, like an enormous, super buff old man with a beard. Who then, like, when he climbed out of the water, his head like pokes above the tree line. And he goes off to like walk the earth to learn about people, and he probably ends up like killing a lot of people along the way as they try to kill him because they don't understand him and think he's a crazy monster.
You know what, Claire? I feel like you did him proud, and I appreciate that. Good. I appreciate that a lot.
Oh god, Ponyo turned Moby Dick into one of the Attack on Titan titans. Miles, who are you going with?
I think the student in this case is going to be young lion cub Joffrey Baratheon.
Okay.
And the teacher, of course, is going to be Granomir, the dragon from He-Man. As we've begun this journey, Joffrey, despite being like a tiny-ass cub who's smaller than literally everyone, like even Elmer Fudd, he's just like prancing back and forth, yelling in this like high-pitched, squeaky voice about how everybody should do what he says they should do, and insulting them, and just generally being a dick. And nobody really cares because he's so tiny and he has no power to enforce what he's saying, but he's just making the whole trip unpleasant, and eventually Granomir looms over him and is like, hey kid, let me learn you a few things, all right? He says, listen, I am a 10,000-year-old, at least, magic dragon king from a universe where dimension hopping is, like, standard, all right? I've been to your shitty little world. Everybody's like, oh no, where did the dragons go? Where did all the magic go? What happened? And you know what happened? They left, because it sucked there. What's that family that you guys think was all great back when they ruled your little kingdom? And he's like, oh, the Targaryens, yes, they were so good. They got to do whatever they wanted, and they were above all the laws of gods and men because they fucked their siblings. And he's like... Okay, so, like, you want to be like them? Those are going to be your role models? People who thought they could, like, rule by riding dragons, enslaving dragons, forcing dragons to fight each other? No. When it got too bad there, and we were all like, peace out, guys, this is weird and stupid, the dragons left for different dimensions because they realized how much better they were than the humans fucking there, which is why all the magic is now gone for your world. Now, you want to be a real king. You follow the dragon way, and you will eventually achieve both magical powers and immortality. And Joffrey's like, no, yes, I want this so badly. Magic powers, immortality, what do I have to do? And Granomir's like, you have to not be a dick.
That's the dragon way, don't be a dick.
That's the dragon way, don't be a dick. It's an age-old code by which they live. They have the virtues of wisdom, of patience, of quiet strength that they know can never be overcome, but that they also never boast about. These are the values that Granomir begins teaching young Joffrey Baratheon. And Joffrey realizes quickly that even his puny lion cub form is better than the fucking human person he used to be. Because Granimir's like, look, man, humans, they're alright. Like, He-Man's cool, I guess. I kind of respect him. But, like, the rest of them, really, we don't really fuck with them because they're beneath us. So, even your transformation from human boy into lion cub is a step up. And if you follow me, kid, as you grow to be a full-grown lion, what people call the king of the jungle, you will be a wise, powerful, immortal, both feared and loved as a ruler. So Granamir has basically done the impossible, which is teach Joffrey Baratheon how to be a good king.
My God. Game of Thrones would go so differently. Chapter 2. Trust in me. The jungle is hot and the trail is long, and soon your group is absolutely exhausted from their travels. Thankfully, you manage to find a tranquil pond and settle in for a nap beneath the cool shade of a tree. Unfortunately, it looks like you're not the only ones here. One of your characters wakes up to find that they've been taken into the coils of a python named Ka. This enormous snake has fixed your character with a hypnotic gaze and is beginning to widen his jaws to swallow you whole. Claire, you're up first this time. Who fell into Ka's trap and how are they going to escape?
This seems like a job for Blinks the Time Sweeper. Blinks gets brought up into the tree by Ka. Ka starts staring down Blinks, and Blinks begins to figure out what's going on, like, oh no, I'm going to be hypnotized. What can I do? And so to get some time to think about it, Blinks hits the pause button on his vacuum cleaner.
The pause button.
And he stops time, and he just sits and thinks about it for a sec. He's like, oh, what am I going to do? And then he comes up with an idea, and he presses another button on his vacuum cleaner, which is the record button. And this is a weird power that you have in Blink's Time Sweeper, where you can make a recording of himself doing something, and then he can, like, go do something else, and the recording's gonna do that thing. So he makes a recording of himself sitting in the tree, just, like, looking at Ka for a while. And then when that's over, he, like, reverses time back and gets out of the tree and runs away. And Ka just sits there, like, hypnotizing a slightly glowing green, like, recording of Blinks that he's left behind in the tree, just to, like, be hypnotized by him while he pieces out.
That's pretty dope. Miles, you're next. Who's up against Ka?
I'm also going to bring a feline up against this snake because it's going to be Lion Cat. Because let me tell you, when Ka does his whole hypnotic thing, he can never resist saying things like, I'm your friend, you can believe in me, you can trust in me.
Nah.
And Lion Cat's just like lying and rips him apart.
I mean, yeah.
Simple and direct.
Yeah.
Paper meets scissors.
That's right.
Liz, amaze me.
I am bringing Sir Hiss to this.
Yeah! All right. Yeah, go Liz.
So, this is gonna get weird. So Sir Hiss comes out of the bushes, and Ka surprises him, and begins to wrap around Sir Hiss's body. Ka isn't used to attacking one of his kind in this way, and he gives pause. And all of a sudden, he and Sir Hiss lock eyes. And both their tongues flick out.
Aww.
And they can taste pure electricity in the air.
Megan Pop, is that you?
Suddenly,
I was going to say this is the Megan Pop memorial shipping scene.
Suddenly, they begin to coil tighter and tighter. Eyes opening and closing, tongues flicking on their snake necks. All hostilities cease. The coils they have upon each other lighten, and suddenly they're laying and sunning their bellies, saying sweet hissings to each other. And Ka is incapacitated with love.
Okay.
Neither of them can breathe, and it's not from the constriction.
Do their hemipenes touch? Actually, I don't want to know.
Yeah, I didn't go that far, okay? Jeez, Kit.
Just kidding, I don't want to know. Don't send me fan art.
Some
I don't
fucking
want it.
cloaca shit. I don't even know if snakes have cloaca.
They do.
Well, cloaca
Congratulations.
shit.
Chapter 3. I want to be like you, ooh, ooh. Monkeys. Why'd it have to be monkeys? Turns out the jungle is home to a group of simians led by the gigantic King Louis. Hearing the news that a man cub wanders nearby, Louis has arranged for your dumpus to be taken to his palace so he can learn the secret of man's red flower, the secret of fire. Louis doesn't yet know the depths of your dumpus's incompetence, but once he does, he's not going to be happy. So, Miles, you're up first. Choose a character to rescue your dumpus from King Louis. And if you're feeling brave and you haven't used them yet, you can choose to have your dumpus attempt to save themselves.
You know what? For this challenge, I am selecting Elmer Fudd.
All right.
And what's going to happen here is that King Louis is going to approach him and be like, lay the secret on me of man's red fire. So Elmer Fudd's going to be like, oh yeah, I can tell you about fire. Let me see. I think if you rub these two sticks together, then maybe we could get a spark. And Louis is like, yeah, totally, let's do it. And he's like, but Elmer Fudd fucking can't do shit about shit. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe, you know what, if I can get these walks, maybe if I smack these walks together, then I can get the fire that you're wanting. And Lou's like, all right, I mean, yeah, if you could hurry up, that'd be great, because, like, you're just banging these two rocks together. And Elmer Fudd's like, oh, well, you know what, that doesn't seem to be working. I think that, do you have some fire already? Is there any already around? And Lou's like, no, there's not any. Fucking get out. You know what? Just leave. Just fucking leave, you idiot. You obviously can't tell me. Get the fuck out of here.
Brilliant. Liz, you're next. Who's saving the dumpus?
I guess Stun will save my dumpus, because what's scarier to a chimp than something they would normally eat for a small snack being larger than them? I would say that's pretty fucking terrifying. And they're gonna be like just having some bananas, eating bugs off each other, and then all of a sudden a huge bug that crackles with electricity bursts through the door and starts taking names. Finds my dumpus, Scar the man cub, who's an asshole. Stun doesn't want to rescue him, but he has to. And he puts him on his back, and he flies out, and I don't know, this is like a perfect thing. This isn't stupid like my other ones.
They may never eat bugs again.
Yeah.
Claire, let's hear who you're going with.
I think I might take a cue from Miles in this one. I think that my dumpus is going to attempt to rescue herself. Cruella de Vil finds herself in Louis' clutches in his little temple, and he's telling her that she needs to give him the secret of fire. She at first is just like being very indignant, like, how dare you kidnap me? I demand you unhand me and return me, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you stupid monkey, all that stuff. And is like, you know, whacking them over the head with like her handbag and stuff like that, and like calling them all names. They're somewhat intimidated just by like the force of her personality. At least all of the lesser monkeys are. But Louis can step it up, and he can be like, nah, sorry, this is the way it's going to be. And then she eventually gets an idea, and she's like, all right, fine. But if you want me to teach you the secret, first you need to bring me some, like, you know, flammable materials. So, like, all the monkeys, like, go out, gather a bunch of sticks. I need to choose the best one. So, like, you know, a whole bunch of, like, sticks and pieces of wood and stuff. Bring it all here. So they do so. They, like, lay it all out in front of her. And then she says, you want to know the secret of man's red flower? And then she pulls out one of her, like, long cigarettes and puts it in her mouth. Like, reaches into her coat and pulls out a lighter. And, lights her cigarette and then tosses the lighter into the wood pile, and it starts a fire that goes all throughout the temple. and it lights the entire like temple on fire. Louis and his monkeys all have to flee away from just like the raging inferno bonfire that she creates. And then she walks away from it just like laughing evilly and smoking a long cigarette, like cackling into the night.
My God.
Puts on sunglasses.
That's so terrible.
Wow, moving on.
It's definitely something she would do, but I mean, it's still terrible.
Chapter 4, Colonel Hothy's March. Your party isn't the only group of animals making their way through the jungle. As you travel, the ground begins to shake, just before the nearby foliage bursts open as a line of militaristic elephants march through, led by a bull elephant named Colonel Hothy. These elephants have been marching from one end of the jungle to another and have picked up all sorts of useful bits of information along the way. Surely they've already heard that Shere Khan has returned and know where he's prowling now. Unfortunately, these elephants are wary of enemy spies and remain stubbornly tight-lipped about what they've learned during their journeys. Liz, choose a character and tell me how they get information about Shere Khan from the elephants. Do they try to persuade them, trick them, scare them? Do they hide nearby and try to listen in on their discussion? Or do they pull something as crazy as disguising themselves as one of the elephants?
No, and no. Uncle Boris is going to handle this one. Boris is here, and he's explaining that he's a newcomer, and he wants to know who's in charge, and the elephants go, well, the scary tiger's in charge. "What scary tiger? I see no tiger around here." And they're like, "Oh, well, he's over there." And Boris is like, "Ah!" and freaks out and falls off an elephant's back like he does all throughout Balto. And the elephants find this funny and cute and endearing and proceed to tell him all about Shere Khan and how he's terrible and how they want him out. He hogs the watering holes. They won't let them play in the mud because the elephants just cause too much of a mess. And Boris goes on to explain how he's here with a bunch of other super helpful animals. No, they're not. And the elephants agree that he has the best chance of stopping Shere Khan. The elephants all throw their extremely ginormous cylindrical feet in and join the cause, and now I have elephants on my team.
Oh, shit. Well, I guess. Ain't nothing in the rule book. Can't get some NPC reinforcements. All right. Claire, you're up.
Yeah, so I think this is a job for Miss Spider. She's been making some big webs to try to catch some food for their man cub, who is, Cruella de Vil. She discovers, though, that trapped in one of her webs is a baby elephant, because she makes very big webs. Hathi Jr., the child of Colonel Hathi, he's at first afraid when he sees her because she's freaking terrifying, But then when she realizes there's like a little crying, sweet elephant, she's like, "Oh, I'm not going to kill you. You're just like super sweet. Here, let me take you back to your parents." So she takes him back there and is talking to the elephants and learns that they have information about Shere Khan and decides to try to manipulate them by helping them do a bunch of cool stuff with her webbing. Like, she helps build some stuff for them. Like, she builds like freaking bridges out of webbing so they can cross some rivers. She like builds jugs and buckets that they can carry water in so that they can like store water long term. And then she even does a trick she does in the movie where she tosses out a big net to catch a flock of birds, which is, big enough to carry a giant peach in the movie. So I imagine it could carry an elephant. So she helps the elephants fly by like traveling on swarms of birds caught in a webbing net. And once she's given a few elephants a chance to fly around and experience that, then they just think she's like super rad. And they like very willingly give up all the information they have about Shere Khan.
Yeah, flying elephants are horrifying. Miles, what you got?
So my options for this one are a little bit limited, so just keep that in mind before you judge me. Claire and I are a little bit on the same page, though, except when you want big webs, I mean, come on.
Do I?
This is also going to go a little bit differently than the Miss Spider method. See, if you recall in the Jungle Book, Hathi's column of elephants, they don't really look where they're going. They're really into like their music and like their step. They want to make sure they look good. They're pretty. They want to make sure they're all in like organization, but they're not the most observant bunch, which is why they don't really realize that the webs are there until it's already too late. The entire army gets caught in the trap that Shelob has laid for them. And of course, they're all paralyzed, both with the webs and with venom.
Oh, no.
And Shelob, who is, again, just gigantic evil spider, informs Hathi that she has been alive for 1,000 generations. She has been sucking the blood out of mammalian creatures since his great-grand elephant parents were children and longer. She has existed longer than the rocks and the trees. She is eternal. She is Shelob. And you're going to tell me what you know about this whole Shere Khan deal, or I'm going to use my stinger to kill each one of your elephant friends here.
Oh my god.
Every time, she asks him to give her information, and if he refuses, she poisons one of the elephants to death.
Oh my god!
I had limited options.
Chapter 5, The Wrath of Khan. And yes, this is the second time we've used this chapter title, but it works, damn it. Oh. Your party comes across a blasted, barren section of the jungle just as a coming storm darkens the sky above you. As you begin to make your way across the field, the moment you've been dreading finally arrives. The orange and black striped nightmare known as Shere Khan has found you and stalks toward your dumpus with predatory intent. You were hoping to get your dumpus to the human village before this moment arrived, but it looks like all you can do now is try to knock the king of the jungle from his throne. Claire, start with you. Who steps forward to confront Shere Khan, and how do they do it?
This is a job for Scrooge McDuck. Hey, before you say anything, Scrooge is no slouch. Have you played the DuckTales video game? he is surprisingly nimble. It's a platformer, and in this game, in addition to being able to jump very high, he also can jump on the end of his cane and bounce on it like it's a pogo stick. Of course, he does in fact have these powers in this incarnation, and as Shere Khan is running at him, and at Krilla, he like bounces on his head with his cane, and then just like keeps doing that like he's like Super Mario or whatever, and. Shere Khan gets frustrated and starts like clawing at him and chasing him around. But Scrooge is actually faster than Shere Khan. I have this one statistic with me. Some people have done some math. There's a point in the comic where he throws a coin across a river. It's like the Potomac River. It was based on something that like George Washington did or whatever. But because he doesn't want to let the coin go, he then gets in a rowboat and paddles across the river and gets out and catches the coin on the other side before it lands. And so people did the math on this based on the average width of the Potomac River.
Oh my God,
and it turns
Claire.
out that it took him 5.4 seconds to get across, so he rowed the boat at over 160 miles an hour.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
So I'm just saying,
cartoons.
he's a very fast duck.
Yeah, he's got arms.
Yeah, so he's just gonna like run, and Shere Khan's gonna chase him for like miles and miles and miles until he just gets tired and just collapses from exhaustion. And then Scrooge McDuck just like jogs back to the group and is like, "Hey, I beat him. He passed out." So,
Well, Miles, it's your turn.
Yeah, so interestingly, I've realized that Claire in the first challenge used 2 aquatic characters, right? Mm-hmm. Which I had none of. And I used my extra dumpus and my reptile, which Claire no longer had. And then after that, we chose the same one for every challenge.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. This means that I am also left with my bird. However, unlike Claire, I anticipated the final challenge being a fight with Shere Khan.
oh, interesting.
So my bird will be the one that I'm bringing in, will be Alex from Tekken.
Hell yeah.
Who, as previously mentioned, is a genetically engineered dinosaur martial artist who is also a wrestler. Alex is going to confront Shere Khan, and Alex is going to beat the dog shit out of him. Like, it's not...
Tiger shit?
I mean, the tiger shit, sure, whatever.
It's
like,
gonna beat him so hard, a different animal's shit will come out.
That's right. I mean, like, Shere Khan is super feared, like, in the jungle because he's a tiger and, he is the best fighter of everyone because we don't really see very many other predators. He's really, like, the big predator around. But Alex is not only a velociraptor, but a martial artist. He beats Shere Khan in combat in every possible conceivable way. Like, there's just no way this fight lasts longer than 6 seconds. It's gonna be a knockout. The only word that will sound through the jungle after Alex is done beating him is the word that we hear in Tekken when you haven't had a hit laid on you. Perfect!
Liz, who's stepping up to Shere Khan for you?
My dumpus. Scar, the new
My
man
God.
cub.
Oh, human Scar.
Oh my god.
So, in this case, I wish I had Lion Scar, but...
Yeah.
I mean, we established that Simba didn't beat Shere Khan.
I know,
so-
we established that tigers can kick lions' asses. So.
Well, now I'm a man cub, and Scar, he has long claws in lion form, so obviously he has, 10 javelins in human form. It's not, it's in the rule book. It's not in the rule book? It doesn't matter. He has javelins.
He's just 10 javelins.
10 javelins.
He just
in
made
his
some
little
javelins.
thing on his back. He's carrying his 10 javelins, and he's got one at the ready. And Scar's going to approach him and be like, huh, I've dealt with worse than you. I don't think that's how Scar talks, but whatever.
He's got, a British accent.
Very deep Britishy voice.
Irons.
There you go, I guess.
Actually, they both have British accents.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, imperialism.
Scar's more British than him, and he's going to take the javelin and throw it at Shere Khan's feet and be like, I had a kingdom once, and I will have it again. The next one won't miss. Run, tiger. Run. And Shere Khan's going to be, struck with fear, and he's just going to be like, ah! More like, "Ruh." And then Scar's gonna throw another javelin to the left, and then another javelin to the right, and then another over his butt and behind him, and be like, I still have 6 more javelins, and they'll all hit your heart. Blah. And Shere Khan's gonna get really, really scared, and he's gonna run. But remember, there's the 4 javelins around him. So...
How could I forget?
So Shere Khan is gonna get scared because he's getting trapped in, and no one likes to feel trapped. And he's going to break the javelin on his left. Now, when he breaks the javelin, he's going to get a splinter underneath the pad of one of his paws. And it's going to kill him.
Like a slow death, or it's
Like gets infected, or he has an allergy to
It's
wood?
it's like a tiger's Achilles heel. It's the paw.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that part.
It's in the rule book. Or not in the rule book. And he's just going to fall over, writhe in pain, and then Scar is going to be like, see? Told you to run. You just had to
You
make
remember
me
that
throw
part in the
4.
book where Shere Khan's mother washes him in a river, right? And it like makes him immortal, except like a little part of one of his paws.
Yeah, everyone thought Achilles was immortal, but his heel was what was his undoing, so Shere Khan's underpaw is what is his undoing.
His mother had him by the ankle.
He just had to make Scar throw 4 javelins when one would have been enough, and Shere Khan could have run away and tigered back another day, but nope. Had to throw the 4 javelins.
a fucking idiot.
And get a splinter.
I also like how the human analog for claws on a predatory cat are javelins, because you know claws as can famously be thrown from a distance by cats.
I was thinking we were going to say fingernails, but yeah. Instead we got Chekhov's javelin.
Chapter 6. My own home. At last, the jungle falls away and the walls of the human village loom before you. The man-cub can finally be reunited with his people. But of course, things are never that simple. You see, all 3 of your parties make it to the human village at the same time, but the village only has enough room for 1 more citizen. Thankfully, the village happens to have a ritualistic process for just such an occasion. The 3 would-be citizens will pose challenges for the other characters to overcome. Thankfully, the village happens to have a ritualistic process for just such an occasion. The 3 would-be citizens will pose challenges for the other characters to overcome. This will help the village elders determine which of the 3 potentials deserves to join their society. What your characters don't know, however, is that this is no ordinary human village. This is a dumpus village, a community defined by incompetence. The elders are not looking for the person who can succeed at the given task the best. They are looking for which chucklefuck can chucklefuck it up the worst. Miles, you are challenging Liz's dumpus. Give them an extremely basic task to do, something that you can't imagine them screwing up.
Liz's dumpus is human Scar.
Correct. With javelins.
That I can't imagine them screwing up.
I have 6
Liz,
now.
your dumpus's challenge is to vamp dramatically. Like, just chew that fucking scenery, man. The camera is on you, and it is now time for you to, like, leap around doing poses and making big speeches.
And now, Liz, tell me how your dumpus character screws up this incredibly easy task.
Okay, I'm gonna walk in, and I have my little bag of 6 javelins. And I'm gonna pull 1 javelin out and go over to a rock wall and just put my hand on my forehead and go, life is so hard. And I might take a javelin and just screech it down the rock face. The sound of my breaking heart. And then I throw the javelin aside. And I go,
All right, everyone keep track of the amount of javelins that Scar has. It will be important
We're
later.
down to 5.
and I go, I only have 5 javelins left. 5 is not enough for a king. However, if I can demonstrate my amazing prowess with my javelin claws, I will win you over and be your king. And then I take another javelin out and I scrape it across the mud and back again. And then I throw the javelin and it misses by a fucking country mile. At the nice large target the very nice village dumpuses have set up for me. And I go, I try so hard. And then he starts singing the Linkin Park song. And then he pulls out he pulls out his next javelin. 4 javelins. 4 must I use to impress you. And then suddenly it snaps. It's a faulty javelin. And I collapse to my knees and I go, 3 javelins! I have a splinter! It's how I killed my foe, Shere Khan.
Liz, you realize you're supposed to fail at vamping, right?
And then I get to stand up and I trip over myself and another javelin breaks. 2 javelins!
Oh my god.
I don't think she does.
And then I get back up and I take both javelins and I use them like ski poles and walk up to the dumpuses. And I go, I'm a broken man cub. I only have 2 javelins. I don't know what to do with them. And then I break them over my knees and throw them away. I guess I do now. I'm broken. I have no javelins. Help me! Finn.
Beautiful. Curtain falls.
Awesome.
Well, Liz, you're now challenging Claire's dumpus. What easy challenge are you putting them to?
Corella Deville.
You have to eat an entire meal in a non-smoking restaurant.
Oh. Okay, so there is a restaurant, presumably, in this, village.
Yes.
Wait, what's the name?
That
Please
has-
come up with a name. It's like
Hold on a
the
sec.
Dumpus Deli or something ridiculous.
That works. The Dumpus Diner.
The newer deli.
Oh, the new deli! That's so good!
Oh my god.
That's so great, Kit. So Corella Deville is given a plate of chicken tikka masala, and she starts, taking bites of it, and then she reflexively, pulls out one of her long cigarettes and goes to light it, and then stops herself, and then sets it back down again, and then just, takes another bite, and then, as she's chewing it, kind of absentmindedly picks up her cigarette again and puts it in her mouth and is about to light it, and then sets it down again. She realizes she just, can't not do it, and she just put the cigarette in her mouth just to, have it there. Just, even though it's not going to be lit, just to, kind of vent and get it out. And she just throws the lighter away and is just sitting there just eating and just stewing, and her feet just dig into the ground and her nails carve into the sides of the table. She just leaves gash marks in it, scowling at everyone around her, and her eyes are just glowing red. And then at this point, the end of the cigarette just spontaneously lights on fire.
Oh! I was like, this is so depressing. Please have a happy ending. I guess having a cigarette light is a happy ending.
And then she just takes a huge drag off of it, just lit by her pure rage. And then she just lets out a cloud of smoke, and then she gets dragged out of the restaurant.
God dang. Wait, she took a drag and then got dragged.
Well, Claire, you're now challenging Miles. So, what simple task does their dumpus have to do?
All right, so they've heard that Elmer Fudd is a great hunter, but they also know that he has some problems, so they decided to give him a pretty easy challenge. He's going to have to prepare some food for them. He's going to have to prepare a soup. But they know that, hunting might be a little much for him. He just has to make it out of some vegetables that they've already gathered for him.
Miles, what goes horrifically wrong in the process?
So the first thing that goes wrong is that, as we previously noted, Elmer Fudd does not know how to start a fire. So,
yes, indeed.
So he tries a few times and then just sort of gives up, but he pretends to have a fire going. At a certain point, he's really trying not to embarrass himself in front of these people. He's going, oh, look at that. That's a great blaze going right there. It's warming my hands. It's wonderful. Pretending basically to be heating these ingredients in the soup, but really making something more akin to gazpacho. They might have cut out a bunch of vegetables, but they didn't really give him any broth, and he doesn't really know what broth is. So he just figures he needs to get some water from somewhere. So he kind of wanders around, all right, let me just find the well, I'll get some water. Stumbles into this little kind of closety looking room. Looks like it has some kind of container of water in the floor.
Miles.
Not sure what it is, but it's water, you know what? So he grabs it, he takes it out of the little room, nobody seems to be missing it, pours it in the pot.
Oh no, some people die.
He starts to stir. Nobody really gave him a spoon, so he decides to stir with one of the longer carrots that he has. That doesn't go extremely well because as he's stirring, the carrot is, well, not cooking because, as previously mentioned, there's actually no heat, but it is getting increasingly soggy, which makes it increasingly difficult to stir. Also, in his haste to go find the water, he's knocked many of the ingredients off the table and onto the ground, which he doesn't bother to clean off because he doesn't, again, not really much of a chef is Elmer Fudd. And in addition to that, when he sees the vegetables, he's like, oh no, these are wooing. Somebody went and chopped them up. They're in halves. How could you possibly get a good, healthy stew if you've got so many vegetables in such tiny pieces? So he throws all those away because obviously they're defective. And he basically goes around trying to find visual facsimiles of all these things. So, like, he goes looking for potatoes. He finds, some pitted rocks, because they look basically kind of like potatoes, especially if you rub them in the dirt a little bit. They're browner that way. He goes looking for celery, like the celery stalks, and he just basically finds some bark, which is approximately the same size and shape. Just he strips the bark off the thing. He goes looking for some carrots and some tomatoes. He finds some bugs that are roughly the same size and color, puts them all together, and he's delighted. He's stirring this thing with his soggy carrot that doesn't really work. It was the only thing that he didn't throw away that he was originally given. But then, of course, once he's done stirring, he does toss it behind him because it's just a spoon. It's not actually a food item. He's sniffing. Oh, that smells so tasty, and as the thing, again, everything involved is just sitting there, growing increasingly soggy and lumpier and more disgusting. On some level, he's aware that what he's concocted smells really disgusting, but, he's never had stew before, and he assumes that this being the Dumpus village, this is the kind of thing they would like.
A bowl of cold rocks and shit.
That's right. Which, unbeknownst to him, is actually closer to the truth than you might expect. Unfortunately, they usually do like it hot and sterilized. So it is neither of those things. When he serves it to them, hopefully there will still be a village when this challenge is over. But Elmer Fudd is resting comfortable in the knowledge that he has finally found something that he doesn't screw up.
All right. Time to tally up points, which I fucking hated having to assign points. Everyone was so great. I have to come to a decision, though. And after all the beep boops and the addition that the Excel is doing for me, because I refuse to do math, I see that Claire is our winner.
Boom, boom.
Congratulations.
Awesome. That's
you have
right.
managed to get your man cub to the safety of the human village and subtly reinforce a segregationist narrative. Claire, you won the first one.
The Attack on Titan challenge?
Yes! And Liz won round 2.
Liz won round 2 with the snakes having sex.
Oh, yes! Yeah. Yep.
Oh my god.
Chapter 3 was won by Miles. You were the one who had the dumpus, who saved themselves in a maybe not as violent way. Burning the whole temple down, so that was great too. Claire, you took round 4.
That was Miss Spider.
Miss Spider.
Miss Spider, yeah. She had some creative ways of helping out those elephants. And then you also took round 5.
Oh, that is some bullshit, kid.
I should definitely have taken that.
The fuck?
That was fighting the lion, or fighting Shere Khan, or what?
Yeah, that was easily.
I'm
easily
resigning from Surprise Party.
Easily the hardest one. I had to pick one. So I picked this.
I'm resigning from this show.
Duck.
I'm out. That's ridiculous.
He's a very fast and very strong duck.
That is, I can't. Okay, sure.
Read a book, Miles. These are facts.
Not one of those.
And round 6 was taken by Miles.
So Miles won with both of his Elmer Fudd appearances.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this shit?
Yes, said everyone after tasting Elmer Fudd's soup, right?
Yes.
I've never been more upset about an episode of Surprise Party than I am right now. Claire, that's not your win and you know it. That's my win.
I don't know what you're talking about, Miles.
I just drew Human Scar. I'll send you a picture.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Can we post it on social media?
Sure.
Sweet. Anyway, Claire, tell me what your animal characters get up to back in the jungle and how your dumpus adjusts to life in the not-so-big city.
Blink's the time sweeper. He's like a very anthropomorphic cat. He like wears clothing and stuff like that. But he decides he wants to get in touch with his wild side. So he like meets a pride of lions and decides to join them. And he like takes off his like jumpsuit and his like goggles. I think he wears goggles anyway, and like leaves them behind. Leaves his vacuum cleaner behind as well. And then just like goes to run off naked with the lions. And then Scrooge McDuck finds his time traveling vacuum cleaner and then uses its time-traveling powers to play the stock market, and he gets even richer. Miss Spider's living with the elephants. You know, she's constructing like cities for them out of webs and like more tools and stuff and having a good time bonding with them as like a sort of adoptive family. Cruella de Vil takes control of the human village and kind of installs herself as a tyrant and then starts sending all of the townspeople out into the jungle to hunt animals for their coats, including like trying to hunt down some of the other animals who were her former companions because she's terrible.
I know. You know what? I take it back, Miles. We're trading points. You and now.
However, one of the people in the village is a little red-haired girl. She doesn't remember because she wasn't paying attention to her animal companions, but it's Ponyo who's like passing as a human and pretending to be there. She decides to turn back into a goldfish after spying on the humans and discovering their plans and goes into the river and goes on like a quest. And then she eventually, traveling through the river, tracks down Moby Dick, who's like gone far away, and then brings him back to the human village to like destroy it. And he just like smashes the village and scatters all the people. The ones who survive at least like flee into the jungle and run away and never trouble the jungle again.
Shere Khan was right. Shere Khan was right. Well, hope you're all proud of yourselves. I'd say it's time for the kid thanks. On that happy note.
You would say that.
Over to Twitter. Thank you to JTFJ3, The Rose of the Jake, Vander Turner, Cool Down Now, Icon Jade, Florian, Andrew Young, Cosplay Devotee, Ant Bluff 96. Hey, look at Ant. That's fitting. Sean Boyd and Jeff Rick present. Over to Tumbles, thank you to Not Very Bright Raven and Sid Rabbit Blog. And on Facebook, thank you to Jeffrey Ketchum, Robert Ramsey, and Jeff Polier. Thank you for joining us on this very furry, scaly, sometimes fleshy surprise party.
One might call it shitty.
Shitty. Oh yeah, there were definitely some shitty humans at the end. They're shitting it all up. Next week, however, we've got Extraordinary League. And the week after that, Alucard from Castlevania versus Raziel from The Legacy of Kain.
Smash Metafiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman and production assistant Sharon Schneiderman, with logo design by Claire Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Volatile Reaction.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
So, did I miss anybody's characters real quick, by the way?
Did you hear me say Moby Dick?
No.
Shit! Yeah!
I would have reacted to that shit.
I did the thing. I said, like...
He did.
What'd you do?
I said to the last I grapple with thee, from hell's heart I stab at thee, for hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee.
So
all
good.
of you.
It was so good.
My mortal enemies.
That sounds lovely. I'm sorry I missed it.
Uncle Boris flies into the elephants and lands and goes, hello, my friends, I am Uncle Boris. I am a newcomer here. Who is in charge here? Can't make elephant noises.
No.
Oh my god.
Insert elephant noises.
That isn't on
There is now.
Oh, there you go.
You're not gonna give me anything, Kit? Not gonna roleplay with me?